Welcome back. This is Sheepslayer of MC coming at you live from Epic Ever, and we are working on a new area for designing my sceneries for the book I'm creating. Right now we're working on the camp. Yeah. I have a sheep head on my head. Yep. Anyway, this is where we are currently. You'll see it come to life eventually. We are not going with the traditional of people building house thing, if that's what you're wondering. Nope. Today we're gonna do all natural. Natural. We're gonna do some natural stuff. I think we're gonna flatten this though. Because we want to be able to come down here. So you'll have to naturally push it down into there. But other than that, we should be fine. Is there a way to do that without? For today only. Yes, my husband is acting weird. He says hi, by the way, if any of y'all are wondering. If not, then don't worry about it. It's all good. Push this out. So what we're still doing is we are still just making the terrain. We haven't put in a bunch of buildings. We've put in the first building. This is going to be where Wolfgang looks out at everybody. He's second in command and all that. Yeah, he's like second to the king. He'll be taking over the king's rule, of course, but that won't come until later, much later. And then this is his den. It's connected to the watchstone. Yeah, that's what that's called. And that's where the leader will be watching his wolves. The leader is Chief. His name is Chief. Yes, I know. Seems silly to call a leader Chief, but his name is Chief. He's the king. For now. And when he retires, he's going to give the reign to Wolfgang. He has no heirs. So, for him, it's a-okay to pass down with no issues. He has trust issues as well, so it's time for him to step down. He's got a complicated history. But we won't learn more about that. He's just a character, so he's kind of a background character, the king is. Other than that, there's not too much. We have Winter, who is Wolfgang's best friend, and they have grown up together, basically. And Winter will be Wolfgang's second in command when he becomes, when Wolfgang becomes king. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome in its own way. This hill's a little natural hill, but it's not going to work because that's right there. Yeah, I know. Their names are weird. It's okay. I like them. Winter is the strong silent type, kind of. He can't be silent if he's taking care of a young pawling. The story is centered around a Pauling named Whisper, but at first, her name is Thistle. She starts out as Thistle, but the story will start like not in that direction. You won't know about her until after like the middle of the story. Anyway, the story starts with Thistle losing her name, and she is no longer called Thistle. She's called Pup. It's what happens when you don't have a name anymore. So she loses her name, and she is known as Pup for a while until she, earns back her place, basically. She did something really ridiculously not safe. She put herself and her whole pack in danger, basically. Yeah. It wasn't really good. But she's learning. And that's the important thing at the moment. Yeah, she made a mistake, but it's okay. We all make mistakes. Though hers ended up making her lose half of her entire hunting territory. Actually, she ended up losing all of it. Wolfgang ended up bringing half of it back. That's why he's being named the successor to the throne, basically. Yep. Wolfgang ends up being her mentor at the beginning, but then because of her recklessness, she ends up losing her name, and he ends up losing a trainee, basically apprentice. Anywho, sorry, my husband is just being ridiculous today. Anywho, we're where was I? Oh yeah, I was explaining the details. So Thistle had just lost her name and everything, right? So, and Wolfgang was her mentor. He was rather upset with her, and so was the king. The mistake that she had would have costed a wolf basically either their pack or their lives. So yeah, don't worry. She wasn't the one that lost. She actually ended up losing her name and her rank and everything, but she's gonna come back stronger and smarter. She grows up again back in the Pauling Den, basically waiting for the next time that she can become an apprentice, basically. She doesn't know when she'll become one because of, Wolfgang and him being in charge of her and all. Sorry, my throat is all like jacked up right now. Yeah. So yeah, she ends up doing a lot of stuff around to actually end up getting her name back. She ends up becoming an apprentice thanks to a young pup named Cloud. His name is Cloud. And he's a brave little warrior. He stands up to Wolfgang and basically announces that his name will be Cloud. Normally, they don't get to choose their names when they become howlings, which is apprentices, by the way. But yeah, they don't normally get to choose their name. But he went and he declared to Wolfgang that he would be Cloud, and he'd be stronger and better wolf than Wolfgang would be. So at first, Wolfgang is like, nah, you don't understand anything. And he's like, but perhaps you need training. So he ends up assigning him to a mentor. His mentor is going to be Shade. But he stands up for Whisper, basically. At the time, her name is Pop. So he's standing up for Pop, basically, is going, hey, you should be nice to her. Hasn't she earned something? You can't be mean to her forever. That's basically what he said. If you want to know more, you can read the story. It tells you more about it, and yeah. I'll let you know when it gets posted and everything, so don't worry. Anyway, so yeah, she ends up having him stand up for her, and she ends up getting turned into an apprentice. Not right after he does, because Wolfgang makes him an apprentice before her. Which is also one good thing and one bad thing, I guess, because now she's lower than Cloud, basically, because she has no rank. So she's lower than every wolf in the group, except for pups, like the baby pups, the ones who are still learning to walk and talk. Yeah, there's a chicken in the way. Get this terrain any lower. But yeah, so she does that. And then she ends up becoming an apprentice the next day with 3 other pups. Their names are Sky, Tree, and Wind. They don't really have big roles. Sky has a role where she basically taunts poor pup for now, because that's her name, until she earns her actual name. Which she does, by the way, end up earning her name, and her name is Whisper. It's Whisper's Journey. It's basically what the book is called. But yeah, she ends up earning her place with a mentor, and his name is Winter. So you can see where this is going. Anyway, Winter's a very strict wolf. He's not like super nice about things, but he's always been strict, so it doesn't matter. He's strict with every wolf that is lower than him. That's just the way he is. He has his own history and stuff. Won't get into that just yet. But yeah, needless to say, that it cost him a few things for being good. Or goofing off. Basically, he slacked off one time, and the one time, it ended up backfiring on him. So yeah, he knows what it's like to make a mistake. Anyway. Where was I? Oh yeah. Right. We're describing Whisper's thing. Future. Anyway, so she ends up growing up with Winter as her mentor now, because it was Wolfgang, but she lost that right and title. Yeah. Anyway, she ends up with training under Winter, who teaches her every wolf's role, not just one part of the group, of the pack's role. Just figures it would be smarter and easier to teach her the roles while being in them, rather than going the route that they would have normally gone, which was they learn them as you go, basically. But for her, she needed hands-on learning. So his first task is to put her on patrols with other wolves so that she could see them in action. His second goal is to place her on the moon patrol. Most young wolves at her age don't tend to go on moon patrols because, one, they can't keep up, and two, it's extremely dangerous. Like, extremely dangerous. Most creatures come out at night. They're night creatures. Like cats. Mountain lions usually come out at night. They hunt much easier that way, supposedly. And other characters, like night creatures. Anyway, nocturnal creatures come out at night, so there's a lot of dangerous creatures that come out at night. So that's why they have the moon patrol. There's 3 of them, and Granite runs one of them. He is the oldest moon patrol running wolf there is. And he loves his role as a moon patrol wolf, because it means he knows he's keeping the entire pack safe. And then for her first run, she actually learns about Cedar, who's going to take over Granite's position when he transfers down. But right now, he's the same age as Chief. So they're still pretty young wolves. I mean, they're not young, but they're not old. I guess. I don't know how that works. Anyway. Yeah. So that's a thing, and she ends up going on it, and she ends up learning more about alpha roles and omega roles. For the alphas, their roles are to basically keep watch, and if they see something, immediately go find help so that they can get the other alphas to come and help. The alphas are warriors who fight. There are a few omega warriors, but most of the roles for the omegas are to go find and get help from the pack. That way they can bring everybody together and fight off the threat. But there are a few omega warriors who can fight if need be. So not everybody gets left out. And the alphas fight, yes, but they're more geared towards leadership kind of fighting rather than, like, you know, being in charge. I guess if you'd say anything, it'd be like a military rank kind of thing. The drill sergeants, you got your other things, your others, and other things. You know the rules. If you don't know the rules, then you go ask somebody who does. So anyway, it's kind of like that as well. There's a lot of roles. So, yeah, Granite is teaching Cedar, who will succeed him one day when he's ready to step down. Then she happens to join that day. Granite is full of lots of wisdom. Lots of wisdom. He knows a lot of things. What to look for, what not to look for, sense to notice, you know, that kind of stuff. And he teaches her these things, but at the same time, he's also teaching them, or teaching her, the roles that every wolf plays within the group dynamic. Like, alphas play their roles, omegas play their roles, and stuff. So, because she has a hard time accepting that she will never be an alpha yet, they're training her as an omega. She wants to be an alpha. She'd rather be an alpha than an omega. Just saying. But they don't put her on that. Nope. Instead, they put her on an omega. She hates it. So that's why she ends up losing her name and everything. Yeah. Pretty sad. But she learns along the way. And that's the important thing.